Morning, guys. It is morning here in Southern California. It is Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. And I'm Andrew from 510 Books. And let me tell you a little story. So last year, 2020, June of 2020, I was contacted by somebody because of an ad I was running for my warehouse sale. And they asked me if I was interested in buying a large quantity of books, which ended up being the 2,000 books in the storage unit that I made a video about. If you go back and check it out, way back then, there's a video about it where they had 2,000 books in boxes, over 100 boxes, etc. And asked if I was interested. They had a friend who was looking to get rid of them really cheap. So I said yes. Long story short, I ended up buying all of those, ended up becoming very, very lucrative bulk book buy for me. There was a lot of science fiction books. There was a lot of first edition books. There was a lot of signed first edition books, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of older books, vintage types of books. So it took a long time to get through that stuff. But since I went through it, I have sold hundreds and hundreds of those books, made thousands of dollars off of that, and I only spent a couple $100. So that's the first part of the story. Now, the person that sold them to me, or actually the person that contacted me about them, said, "Oh, by the way, are you also, I have a friend, the same friend who's interested in, or no, they said, do you want to buy a bookstore?" Basically. This is all through messaging. And initially I was like, what? A bookstore? What are they talking about? So, over time, I found out that the same person that was selling all the books, those books had come from the owner of a bookstore that had been around for a dozen years in the same location. And they closed in March of last year because of the pandemic, because everything closed. And they were looking to either permanently close it and just sell off all the inventory, or find somebody who was interested in taking it over, essentially buy it over, or buy it from them and run it themselves. Because what they really wanted was for the bookstore to continue. And so anyway, I found out all this information after I got the books. Then I came down to the store, talked to the daughter of the owner of the store who had run it for the last 12 years, her mother. And another part of the story is that a few years before the pandemic hit and they had to close, the bookstore was struggling because her husband had died, and she was having a hard time running it. She was already in her mid-80s. Volunteers were helping her. Anyway, it was a struggle for her to make enough money, basically. She was not getting new books, not getting that many new books, a lot of reasons. So basically, the daughter did not want to run it herself. So we started talking about it. I came down and saw it. I knew of the store. I had been in there once, randomly. It's pretty close to where I live, depending on traffic, about a 10-minute drive, but pretty close. And it's in a downtown area that is very old and very well known, and has a lot of businesses, has an antique row, has restaurants, has a couple of concert venues, has a record store, all these different types of stuff, vintage, clothing store and whatnot. So it's definitely a retail. It's a retail space, not a warehouse. It's a retail space in an area that gets lots of foot traffic and lots of people driving by and people visiting, and et cetera, et cetera. And also because it had been there for 12 years, so it was known. And anyway, long story short, well, this is a long story, but we started talking about it, and because initially it was just overwhelming. It was like a bookstore, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I knew about the store. I'd been there, and since then I knew it was there, and I knew it was one of the very, very few used bookstores in the area. I'm talking, it was this one, and I know of one other. Sorry, I know of two others, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's a Barnes and Noble, but yeah, there's just no. There's no used bookstores. There's hardly any at all. And anyway, so I came down to the store and I met the daughter, and we talked, and she wanted the store to continue, but then she said, well, worst case scenario is you can buy all the books off of me, etc. So we talked for months about it, and then they leased the space. So it got down to the brass tacks, and I talked to the person who owns the building, and I wasn't even considering taking this over until I found out more information about how much it would cost. And I found out that it's really, really affordable rent. It's a year lease. And after back and forth, we decided I would buy all of the stock. There was actually more than 10,000 books, because there's a retail space and there's books in the back, packed. There was probably easily over 1,000, maybe 2,000 books in the back. Many that had just been sitting there and were not for sale. And of course, all the stuff that was out is fully stocked. Bookstore, the bookshelves are already in place. They're bookshelves that are attached to the wall. Majority of them, like 90% of them, there's a few that aren't, but majority are. They're already set up for to open, basically. I mean, it's fully stocked. So made a deal to buy everything in the store, which is bookshelves, bookcases, books, of course, and anything else that's in here. And then I made the decision to take over the lease. And this has been a year now. This was last year, November of last year, when I took over the lease. So I've been here for a year. That's right, I bought a bookstore. Not the space. I'm leasing out the space for a very, very affordable price. And what I'm doing is I'm utilizing the back room to store the majority, all of my individual stuff I have for sale on eBay and on Amazon. So anyway, everything I have, books and media. The lots, the book lots, the CD lots, the DVD lots, those are in my warehouse. So I decided to do this. It's kind of a crazy thing, guys. It's crazy. And I have not opened the bookstore yet. Of course, when I got it, we were still, in this area anyway, we were still very much in the pandemic and things. And just, not really, actually, things are not open at that point. They just started opening this year. So it was an overwhelming thing in terms of the idea of opening the store and having a warehouse to run, the warehouse sale to run, of course, online, and then this. And so it took me a while to to decide whether I should do it. And lately, the last few months, what I've been doing is finally getting to the point of fixing the bookstore up so I can get closer to opening it. And what I'm doing here now is I'm starting to go through the books and decide which ones I'm going to keep to sell in the store, organizing them, repricing, that type of thing. So other thing that I did is I painted it. It was red and black, believe it or not, the walls. And there was a lot of patching that needed to be done. There was an iron curtain, a security curtain, a big gate in the front that I had to get removed, and just all this stuff, electrical stuff I had to fix. So I've put some money into it. I bought the inventory, of course, with the idea of at some point opening it and having someone or some people run it for the most part. I'm already getting some help to open the store, and so I have potential employees to start working and helping me out, because I clearly cannot run a store and then prepare for my warehouse sale and then also sell stuff online. So this was an opportunity to buy a lot of great books, a fully stocked bookstore at a great price in terms of the lease, and utilizing it as a storage, as a place to store all of my online stuff for sale, which is what I've been doing. I have internet access here, so I can come down here, get all my envelopes and everything so I can ship stuff. So it's become a ship station. It's also, I set it up to where it's listing can be done. There's a proper lighting and all that stuff, which when I finally find somebody to list on eBay, which is where they'll be working. So the whole idea is that when it's up and running, this store will be running, and then there'll be someone in the back listing, and I'll be selling online and then getting new books in, because the way I'm going to run it is doing trades. So people bring in books, give them store credit, and turn around and sell those books in the store, or the more high value ones, sell them online. And that's the idea. You might be thinking, what are you, a lot of people are going to say you're crazy. I am. I didn't know exactly what I was getting into, and really I didn't really figure it out until I started fixing it up, and um, now starting to go through the books. I just finally decided, this week, because I'm not having a sale for the next 5 weeks, I'm going to put some time into going through books. I have someone coming in to help me out this week as well, organizing stuff, because while things are organized in the store, there's still some disorganization. A lot of the books are older. They're not older in the sense of just because they were published a long time ago, but just are not books that people are likely to buy. So I'm getting rid of stuff that I don't think people are going to buy, and organizing it in a way that I want to organize it. Also, there's a lot of sci-fi, which you may be able to tell behind me. There's a ton of science fiction in here, and so I might cut down on that a bit as well. But anyway, I want to introduce you guys. This is the first video I'm going to make about me buying a bookstore and going through the process of preparing it to open it. So yeah, let me know what you think. Probably think I'm crazy. But it's worked out well in the sense of giving me an opportunity to have an actual anchor retail store that's open regularly. Likely what I'm going to do is ease into it, but get to the point to where the store would be open 5 to 6 days a week. Likely more in the afternoon, not in the morning, maybe like a 12 to 7 kind of thing. And, go through the process of finding somebody or some people who would work here, and they would deal with, running the store. As I learn about how to do retail space. So let me know what you think. And the next video, I'll show you one of the next videos anyway. I'll show you the store and what it looks like. Thanks for watching, guys.